Greetings and salutations, my fellow vagabonds and dreamers. It is I, Eric J. Chucky, joined, as always, by the boy.
Hey.
This is the Two Nerds Podcast, and we're bringing you old news at this point, but, I guess we could have superseded our typical podcast scheduling, as we're several episodes ahead still, for this information, but, man, by the time I get it to you, it's already going to be super old, so who gives a shit?
Yep, pretty much. We're here to react to some stuff that came out pretty soon before we are recording this podcast, but
if you can't read, first of all, how did you get here? Did you actually click the links I shared? Because that never happens. We're talking about the PS5 presentation that happened in September of 2020.
God, look, you got good projections for how ahead we're gonna get, is all I'm saying.
I do want to cover one thing that has nothing to do with this presentation, but
By all means, sir.
It does have to do with upcoming video games. As fans of Dragon Age, we did see that Dragon Age 4 is official.
It exists.
There's not much to say about it.
No, they're at like the concept art stage.
Well, they're recording voice lines, so they're further than that, but there's just not a lot they can share. But it's good.
Yeah, I'm happy for you.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I hope it doesn't Andromeda itself. But I don't think it will, just because there's a lot of the core design group still there.
The actual group is there.
Well, except everyone who went off to work on Baldur's Gate, which is like kind of if they invited me to replace Krendor, I suppose.
Yeah. To be fair, Baldur's Gate was Dragon Age is often hailed as the spiritual successor to the Baldur's Gate games.
Yeah, that was what if I was on the co-optional podcast?
No, I got it. We're not the spiritual successor to the co-optional
I
podcast.
suppose that's fair. I don't care enough about field of view sliders or the foops of my video game.
I do like it when things are buttery smooth.
I don't actually. It bothers my eyes. It's too real, man. Freaks me out. But
you like a little artifice.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not like
you like it to reside in the uncanny valley.
Not even necessarily. I just expect a certain jank from my video games, I suppose.
There you go.
If it looks too good, it starts to look fake again. I don't know. Comes all the way back around.
Partial pastry. That's all I got.
Okay. I do want to talk top of this before we get into like actual game stuff. I love the design for the new controllers. It's like a hybrid between an actual PlayStation controller and an Xbox controller, which I like in my hands more. PS4's controllers felt like flimsy-ass boomerangs.
Like, I don't get me wrong. I had a PlayStation as a kid. I love the PlayStation controller being the PlayStation controller. That's nice. But when you've had several years of being an Xbox gamer and they're just much better controller design, just better, more ergonomic design.
And I like that it's got, like, some heft to it.
I imagine I could have played Heavy Rain on the Xbox.
Sure.
Just because it has a better controller that isn't as cramped and tiny.
Yeah.
I definitely like.
Can now, actually.
Ooh, maybe I will. Nah, that's not true. I really like that they're doing an all-digital option if you wish to just shed the cruft of the CD drive entirely, or DVD drive, or Blu-ray, or whatever they put the games on now. Disc.
It's a chocolate chip cookie.
Sure, the cookie drive. Is that what CD stands for? Have we been calling it cookie drive this whole time?
Yes.
I like that they give that an option. I like that it's a big cost difference. Which, by the way, way more cost difference than a Blu-ray player drive is. So they're really incentivizing you to go for the all-digital. I like that. I mean, honestly, we might just do that. I don't really feel the need for discs in my life.
The only game that we own for PS4 that is on disc that isn't like an inherited copy of Kingdom Hearts or some Battlefield Modern Duty big red one is Bloodborne, and that comes free as part of their opening bundle service which I thought was pretty cool. That includes a lot of standout games from PlayStation's past, not just unique properties, but also just like some big cool games.
Yeah, just like as they put it, generation defining games, and that's honestly not unfair. It's mostly games we either already own and already played, or games we don't give a shit about. But people keep telling me I'd like the Uncharted series, so we might give that.
And I've been meaning to look into Persona because I do love RPGs, and it's a big one right now. And gosh, if I could check it out for free and not have to worry about it being too anime for me.
Yeah, and if you don't like it, there's a bunch of other games that come on the bundle. That's nice. It's a good selling point. It's a good selling point to get your consoles.
Well, and a fantastic thing for it to do, I must say, is give the opportunity to play God of War without making me have to buy God of War. Because we love, two nerds that we are, Norse mythology.
But boy, howdy, do I not give a fuck about Kratos or his dad hijinks.
But the new God of War game has been teased at the PS5 showcase, and it is subtitled Ragnarok. Yeah, so
the last game was all Norse mythology.
It was, but like, if they're gonna give us like a Ragnarok, it sounds fun.
Then playing the last one to catch up on the thing, you don't really need to catch up on the previous games, as I understand it. It's obviously a soft reset,
sure, and
then you get that done just in time for Ragnarok. Smart plan. To be honest,
I'll be getting that done just in time for 2025, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, we're probably not going to buy this at launch anyway. Look, I don't have to buy it until they come out with a sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn.
Which is on the way.
Yes, it is, and we do have to buy the console at that point. I apologize.
We will be buying the console sooner than later. As soon as...
Demon Souls and...
That's a launch title. We'll have to buy it after that. But, don't buy a console day one kind of thing. We'll wait it out. Maybe at least past the holiday season, see if they do a price drop. But we're not hurting for video games right now. And it's a very interesting time because...
We're never going to be hurting for video games again.
Really. Well, no, yeah. I mean, geez. Don't look at my Steam library. It makes me feel shame.
I own thousands of video games that I have not played.
And never will.
Literally. Literally. And I won't play them.
But it's a big change for us to be looking at a PlayStation console at launch. You and I have not personally been interested in buying a PlayStation console since we owned PS2s separately from each other.
Yeah, it's been that long. Mm-hmm. We never owned a PS3, I don't think.
We did. We owned both of them.
No, we owned a PS3. I just literally never played it once.
I mean, you tried to play Heavy Rain and it didn't work out.
I tried to play Heavy Rain. I believe I tried to play Dante's Inferno, whichever one that was on.
Yeah, we had that on PlayStation. It's on Xbox now. We own it.
But, we've been Xbox mostly because they just had a better library of games.
Well, it's not even better. It's that they have our games. And they're not fucking liar faces. I was on board to throw my lot with PlayStation when PS3 was coming out, and then the big controller controversy happened where Sony says, "Oh no, we can't do that," and they lied. And the backward compatibility controversy happened where they said that's not possible, and they lied.
Yeah.
And then by PS4, I don't give a shit about Sony exclusives most of the time.
Basically, the only reason I ever end up playing a PlayStation is for something that's a PlayStation exclusive. Yeah.
And it wasn't until the last couple of years where I finally got brought into the Soulsborne community, and the Spider-Man game came out, and Horizon Zero Dawn looked interesting to you, and so on and so forth, that either of us have been that interested in something that's PlayStation exclusive. It just, other than that, it doesn't matter. Do I like Microsoft's exclusives? No, I could give a shit. But, they have all my games. And backward compatibility is, something that they really uphold instead of being a great opportunity for you to buy these new backward compatible games.
Hey, buy the White Album again.
Yeah, that Sony routinely does. Now, maybe they're not doing that this time around. I believe it when I see it.
Look, they have the PlayStation Plus collection, which kind of says to me that they're not going to be playable otherwise, so I don't think they are.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, they just want you to give them the money, please.
Whereas Microsoft, it's a computer. It's a Windows box. It just has a funny UI on top.
Sure. So eventually we'll get the new Xbox, when comes time to buy all of our favorites again, because that's where all of our games are.
They have all our CDs.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. I've just preferred Microsoft as a company. They never lost all of my
buy-in.
No, my personal passwords and data.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Anyway. A bunch of Sony fans came here to go, well, I'd love to hear the Two Nerds' opinion on this show.
Yes. Hey, we're talking about all this stuff. Let's spend 15 minutes at the beginning just calling Sony a garbage company.
It's only been 10. That said, well, where do you want to start, man? I usually lead off on this shit.
Just up at the top of the list.
Start at the top of the list. I don't know what order these came in. I think they actually might be in reverse order.
This is the list list he sent to me to go literally. A little behind the scenes thing is he messaged me with literally in all caps, "We have a podcast," and then a bunch of game trailers.
Let me actually mention a couple of things here real quick. Stuff was announced for Resident Evil 8. Neither of us are huge fans of the Resident Evil franchise. Call of Duty, Black Ops, Cold War.
I would love Call of Duty if I didn't hate its controls.
Add 2 more words to that, and your title's lost all meaning. Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition.
I played like a Devil May Cry game when I was a kid. It was fun-ish.
What if Dark Souls was on fast forward and you didn't have to try? I'm kidding. I'm sure they're very hard.
They're very difficult games.
I wasn't impressed when I played the first one, and we have an old grudge. And Fortnite, of course.
Fortnite, woo!
Because we're not going to talk about any of that, other than what we just said.
Look, I'm not here to bag on Zoomers. I don't give a shit about Fortnite. It's a fun game if you enjoy it.
It looks cool. Visually.
I don't enjoy playing it, unfortunately.
If it were one thing or the other, I might like it, but it's both, and I'm old.
Sorry, Zoomers, I'm too old.
Yeah. Anyway, so this is... I'm going to try not to take up the entire fucking podcast talking about this. I came home from a date with my girlfriend, and I moseyed my way into the bathroom like you do, fired up my phone and looked at the Twitter machine, and was served a trailer for Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah, this sure is 9 games it wants to be, and a TV show.
I don't understand what the fuck that means.
That was like a melange of a whole bunch of different shit from the past 10 years sort of all put together into a Final Fantasy package. I got Witcher vibes and some light Game of Thrones stuff, largely just like the Witcher Netflix series tier stuff, like vibes from it, with some Dark Souls and Devil May Cry or other spectacle fighter in like the mechanics sections.
This is a baffling opinion, but one I understand why it's founded the way it is.
I have no idea how, that's really obvious to me.
Well, and, of course it would be. You don't know the series.
No.
So that would be like somebody, I don't know. I guess, I don't have a good metaphor here. Calling something very popular derivative of a bunch of other things that were inspired by it, I guess.
I doubt Witcher was inspired by Final Fantasy.
And I was literally about to say that, but I have no idea what Witcher you're talking about. I didn't see any scenes where they stopped all of the action to sit down and drink 12 potions and rub oils on your sword, and then read a book in real time, and then maybe fight a monster if you're good. I joke I haven't played much of the game, but it was okay. No, this is this is what I've wanted out of this franchise for 14 years, if you count Final Fantasy 12, which I never finished for personal reasons. Just my PlayStation got moved around. Or 20 years, if you count Final Fantasy 9, which was the last Final Fantasy.
You know what? To be fair, it is a fucking fantasy.
Yeah.
This is a fantasy novel. And I think that's what I mean, because Final Fantasy has, in basically my entire life, never been a fantasy series.
Yeah, I mean, you weren't into it, when you were 10, or the years before that. So by the time your ass showed up, Final Fantasy was Final Fantasy VII.
Even 6 has a bunch of steampunk.
Yeah, and that's why I question whether or not 12 counts, because it's really steampunky. Like, this feels like 4 and 5. This feels like, you know...
The gameplay really does look very much like sort of... It looks like a blend between, I will say, a good version of The Witcher's combat and like a Dark Souls sort of Devil May Cry, very timing and counters focused combat system.
I'd be surprised if it was quite that deep, having played Final Fantasy 15.
You think it maybe is like you press a button and then the guy does all the cool shit on the screen?
Yeah.
I'd be disappointed because that actually looked kind of interesting.
There are options for interaction in 15, and admittedly, I didn't have the opportunity to get that deep into it. Again, the PlayStation I was playing it on moved around. This keeps happening to me.
On its own, his PlayStations grow robot legs and then walk around,
Just
and
fuck
then
off.
and then they tell him to go fuck himself. They put their one little robot claw up in the air at him. I think maybe we're unpacking why you have a grudge against Sony.
Either that, or we're the stars of Penny Arcade. We're not. We don't have that kind of money, and I'm not bald.
That's fair. That's
You're the thinner of the two of us. Is really all I was getting at.
Marginally.
Enough,
Thinner and dumber, and I don't do the writing. Yes, look, buddy.
enough jokes. The story I was leading up to, there I sat on the toilet weeping openly because this is what I have been looking for. Now, I'm a JRPG guy. Don't get me wrong. You know, the combat is different, but I have played 15. I did like 15's combat. There's options for interactivity there. It's not just mash button until enemy dead. You know, there's moving around the battlefield. There are counters and stuff like that. They're just, at least to the point I got to, not Dark Souls.
Yeah, no, like, this is good information because I never played 15, so you have probably a better idea of what the actual moment-to-moment gameplay is going to be like. I only know what they were showing me, and what they were showing me very much has a certain look to it.
Sure.
If it's not that, I'm a little less interested in the game because, I mean, it seems fine, the story seems fine, but it seems like a pretty replaceable fantasy story.
Again, like that's like this is the opposite level of hype. We'll get to the Spider-Man one, and then you can have this hype that I'll be like, yeah, it looks really fun.
I'm super excited that you're jazzed for the game.
I'm jazzed as hell. I am glad to see summons being treated as like a big thing. I'm glad to hear the crystals talked about in like as like an important thing that cultures were built and revolve around, instead of, hello, welcome to the town of blah, blah, blah. We have a fire crystal. We do love fire here.
You know what? Honestly, I think part of this might be me being spoiled by you being my DM.
Because
sure. This interpretation of Final Fantasy, you know, with a much more grounded air about it, with the crystals being very important, very fundamental to the cultures they're a part of, that's the version you've been using when you use this general framework for worlds since I've known you.
Oh, sure. I mean, well, and that's why I'm so excited about it, because like it's
in a video game now. It's actually in the material now.
And they're coming up with it, and I don't have to. Look, and don't get me wrong, this trailer was far from like perfect or whatever. Weirdly cut. I hate's a strong word. I'm not a fan of the super smooth Japanese 3D graphic design. What most people would be excited by because it looks like Final Fantasy 14. I don't like it. I liked 15's graphics better. But I guess when you have a Final Fantasy, you want to make it look like your ridiculously popular MMO, and I can't blame you for that.
I mean, why? Of course you do. Come on.
It's sort of a marriage between the two. Not everyone has the longest neck imaginable, so, you know, it's not quite the same thing as 14.
You can tell it was a game made in Japan, certainly.
Sure, and it doesn't... It's not exactly what I would have done, but, like, shit, I'll live with it, you know? I would have been more excited to see if you have a party or not, too, because even though you weren't, like, in super direct control of them at all times, that was a fun part of Final Fantasy 15. And my god, did they do fucking noun dropping.
And by contrast, when I was watching the trailer to that, and you were here when I was watching it, that, to me, I didn't get much of the story because a whole big, they would do a little story thing, and they didn't drop the music mixing at all, so I barely understood what the fuck they were talking about.
It was just nouns. Fucking... Aren't you the Danglo of the Lagla Black? Well, the Bloggadogadoke has been helping us since Clanktatong.
Okay, so I shouldn't know what the fuck is going on.
I don't know what the fuck is going on. Noun dropping, man. Big drama is happening. Everyone mad.
One man in trailer who say thing, no likey Crystal.
He mad.
Big thumb down, Crystal. No more, please.
I am looking forward to more trailers about this, and of course the eventual release of the game. But, gee golly, I'm hype.
I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah. We move on to another sort of mixed introduction to something. I believe on a recent podcast we talked about how neither of us are really all that into Harry Potter anymore.
It was a big part of my life for a long time, and factors have led to it no longer being that.
Deeper than current events.
So, although I won't say that's not a part of it. Here's the thing. The Harry Potter Hogwarts Legacy trailer, I don't know that I give a shit about this game, but I'm really happy this game exists.
I have to say I'm curious. I don't think I would ever buy this, sight unseen. But it feels like they're actually doing something with the franchise that is what I would actually want to play a game set in that universe. First of all, it's in the 1800s. So you don't have to give a shit about Harry Potter.
The person.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with it. And you don't have to do that awkward, what's a cell phone nonsense.
Yeah, because for some reason... And this isn't a thing they made up for the game. It is just a thing that is in the universe. For some reason, Wizard Society only started to fall behind Muggle Society in the 1900s. Until then, they were keeping up.
It's to separate technology and magic and allow me to move around plot devices that...
Yes, Joanne, I know.
But... It's nice that you don't have to think about that.
Yeah, I don't have to have that problem. Me, I for games like this that are set way before the events of a canon of a series, I have a problem with them because sometimes they can feel sort of pointless. But at the same time, it's not an unrecoverable problem because I do love Knights of the Old Republic.
Sure. And, what can make the Harry Potter series feel more pointless than anything Joe's already done to it?
Shit, you've got me there. You've got me there.
So if you will let me throw on colored robes and explore a castle where I can cast spells and fight guys in wolf skull masks, neat.
Good villain, by the way. Good choice of villain, wolf skull mask man.
This could be fun. It could also be fucking stupid. Time will tell.
It looks like it'll be fine to me. I will say, the fucking YouTuber epic trailer mix of the Harry Potter theme music was fucking hilarious. I laughed openly the first time they interspersed the fucking Harry Potter tune with Nolan horn.
These trailers, the editing has been bizarre on them.
Speaking of, this happened twice in these trailers that we were watching, and I want to call this out. This may have happened during a presentation.
Yeah, it was a big...
Do not interrupt my fucking trailer to show me the replaceable fucking middle-aged white man who made the game telling me, we're excited to show you about the game. I don't fucking want to hear you talk. I don't want to look at you or hear you talk. I just wanted you to show me the video game.
It very much smacks of... We have no way to segue this, so here is a small man.
And if you have to spend more than 3 sentences explaining the context of the trailer you're about to show me, you made a bad fucking trailer. Do it again.
I am going to give the game you're talking about, especially here being Spider-Man 2 Miles Morales, a little bit of credit here because the original Spider-Man game trailers were basically exactly like that.
Yeah, I just missed those because I didn't find out about Spider-Man until way later.
No, we watched them at the time. We were pretty hyped. We recorded a podcast.
I don't remember it at all.
I don't think they might have like actually cut to a person, but they like cut away and then said, "Okay, to catch you up on the situation, here's what's going on," and gameplay.
You know what? That might be true. Voiceover is much more acceptable.
That's fine.
Voiceover is much more acceptable than here is. I am a middle manager, here to tell you all about the things that my employees have made.
I told someone to develop this game for me, and now I'm going to make several dollars. But I do agree with you. I just understand that they might not want to give away plot points, and they might want to put shit in between shit, so that when you actually play the game, it feels organic and not like, yes, the bit from the trailer.
Yeah, that's fair.
But that aside, my friend, please get excited about Spider-Man 2, Miles Morales.
I really fucking love the Spider-Man game for the PlayStation 4. It's a really, really good game. I believe we have a podcast about how much I love that fucking game. And I know there are DLCs I never got for it. I think one of them Miles is in and is the main character of. I should probably do those sometime before Spider-Man Miles Morales comes out, because I might as well. I rolled away from the game before I got into those. But I'm going to buy and play the fuck out of this. I like Miles Morales as a character. I really enjoy Spider-Man. All Spider-Men are good Spider-Men. I think I've been pretty clear about that here on the Two Nerds podcast. So I'm going to buy and play the fuck out of this game. I like how they're interspersing Peter's moveset. They've made it a little different for Miles. He's very focused on the electricity powers. That's a choice you can make. I don't hate it, certainly. It's weird that the electricity's gold. I don't know why I'm so bothered by it being gold.
I'm pretty sure it always has been.
I'm pretty sure it always has been, too, but it looked weird.
Probably to contrast out stronger from the purple guys and red guys, but also there's no PlayStation face button that's gold, so it's easy to see those face button prompts when you're...
That might be it. If it hasn't already been gold, which might be the case.
But I wonder how much you can change what you focus on. Maybe that was just a very electricity powers focused thing. Because I recall
in the game you could do that. Like in the first game, you could be very gadgets focused, or very web focused, or very beaten ass focused. I am a completionist. I have done all the quests. I am an everything focused Spider-Man.
I believe as far as I got, I would like to get back to the game at some point. It's next on my list of open world games to play after Red Dead Redemption 2.
Which, as much as I love the game, is where it should be.
Yes. But I believe my goal was put on Scarlet Spider suit, make clone, upset enemies.
Yeah. The game, I don't know that it needs much. It is basically, the Spider-Man game? It's that again. But, you're Miles Morales this time. You're fighting Roxxon Energy and the Tinkerer. Girl Tinkerer. That's a choice. I don't hate it.
I mean, how much are we really attached to Phineas? It was like a character.
You know what? I like him. Don't get me wrong. He's a good boy, that Phineas. But, he's not Herman. I'm not gonna get mad if they replace him. Yeah. I will get mad if you replace Herman in anything. Anything where Herman is not Herman, I get upset.
I know. So next up, we've got Demon Souls remake. I am also cautiously very excited about this. As we mentioned earlier, it is a launch title. I've never played the original Demon Souls. Again, I got into Dark Souls after Dark Souls 3 had been released, starting with 1, through the advice of a friend. And by that point, my PS3 was non-existent, so I really had no way to play Demon Souls outside of buying another PS3 exclusively to play Demon Souls. Which, what kind of idiot, even a used console, what kind of idiot would buy a used console to play one game made by From Software?
He's talking about buying the PlayStation 4 solely for Bloodborne.
I thought there were other games on it.
There were for me.
Yeah, they fucking were. No, it just seemed a little ridiculous. Whereas a current gen console, at least if something comes out, I can get it or whatever. But I know there's a lot of mechanics in Demon's Souls that are really obtuse.
I'm hoping they'll clean those up.
Yes.
This is clearly more than just a visual upgrade.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's a lot of changes.
That looked honestly, it looked like Dark Souls. It had very big Dark Souls energy. Mm-hmm. But so many games have that. It looked like that. What was the one that came out super recently? Mortal Shell.
Yeah.
It looked like Mortal Shell to me.
I think because of the smoothness of the graphics. I keep hearing people talk about how amazing the graphics are. This is next gen, and I'm looking at it going,
no, it's fine.
Yeah, this is just regular. It's a little glossy.
It's smooth.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's not it's not astoundingly better than Mortal Shell.
Well, and honestly,
I mean, it's better than Dark Souls, but come on, that's a low bar.
It's the little things. Like, I literally just finished watching Vadi Vidya's analysis of the trailer, which, Jesus, if you really care that much, please go watch his. What are you doing? How did you get here first?
Welcome. Forget that guy.
You can't read. That's right.
Please, let's not make that canon about the listener that they can't read.
But he was going off on ray traced lightning reflections in a puddle, and I'm like, I was looking at the guy in armor and the fucking demon. So, yeah, the little things like that, the little fucking graphical details, sure, that's next gen. I
don't care. I
don't care. I don't know that I care that much.
I used to care. I remember a version of me who gave a shit about this. I don't.
I'm glad it is a thing. I'm not sitting here going, games were better when they looked like shit.
No, it's nice. It's nice that you have that. You have your nice ray-traced puddle or whatever the fuck you say.
And this is the point by which I go, it doesn't... This is more than is necessary, I feel.
I just am never going to give a fuck about the ray-traced puddle. I'm happy for you that you do, and I'm happy for game developers that they can do it because they clearly want to.
Sure.
There's just no universe where I care.
Yeah, I mean, it adds, it's all, like when I was watching the cinematic parts of the Spider-Man trailer, and there were little flakes of snow that were landing on Miles' body and melting. And, I mean, that was, I think, a pre-rendered part.
Yeah, that's a cutscene.
Yeah, it was a cutscene, but still it looked cool, and I'm glad they can do that. Who doesn't like footprints in snow?
A footprints in snow is great. You always you do a little thing where you walk around, you see the footprints, you go, yeah, and then you go about your day. Sure. I do that in real snow, not just in video games.
So I am glad about shit like that. It'll be nice when a WWE game comes out 5 years from now, and their design has caught up with last gen's graphics, and we can enjoy shit like that.
Yeah. I think that's actually a really good point, because that's the game where I do give a shit about all the tiny little graphic stuff, because it's such a very specifically visual medium, whereas for most games, I'm much more focused on gameplay moment to moment.
Yeah, and all that little tiny shit does add to the overall environmental satisfaction, but it's nothing I'm going to notice with my naked eye, because I'm not fucking looking for it.
And I have glasses that are literally out of date right now. I'm waiting on my new ones to come in. So I can't see it right now.
I was about to say, this really dates this podcast, and I'm like, this podcast that you guys very specifically mentioned the date of earlier in this podcast? Also, who knows your schedule better than they do when this PlayStation announcement happened?
That is listening to the podcast. Not even me.
Yeah, it's just, how bizarre. What a bizarre
And if one
reaction.
of you does, I don't want to know.
I do. You can private message me. So let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Deathloop. I thought this looked cool.
I think this is a sequel to I have heard about this game before. Because I remember seeing something about this game a while back. And
it's his gameplay trailer too, so.
Yeah. It's a really cool concept. You're an assassin. You're stuck in a time loop. Like Groundhog Day style. Only instead of becoming a better person or whatever, you have to murder all of the people on your assassin list.
And also, you're a lazy assassin, so you'd like it to be a bit easier. What if they all just got in one place, please? Thank you.
Which makes sense, because if you don't have enough time to kill them all in one day, if they're too spread out, then you gotta arrange so that you can go throughout the day, arrange to get them all in one place at the end of the day, and then you murder them all. Except there's another person who's coming after just you to kill you and restart your loop. Which is super neat as a concept, because it means that you can't just perfect run min-max it, because there's always going to be somebody on your tail.
Yeah.
I like that. I think the core of this is, I don't imagine it's a versus, like a two-player mechanic. I think the core of this is going to be how good the enemy assassin AI is.
Yes.
And I don't just mean competent. I mean, of course, they can make an enemy assassin AI who's programmed to always climb to the tallest building and then laser shot you from 6 miles away. But, like, how fun it is to play against the enemy assassin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's very key. Otherwise, it just becomes another small obstacle in the middle of your assassinations.
Or an incredible frustration if it's not fun to play against and way too competent.
Yeah. I don't know that I'm going to buy this game.
I like that it exists.
I really like its aesthetic. I like the 1960s like spy vibe. I like that they're drawing from that era in terms of like clothing and just decoration, but they're also modernizing it. I love that each of the main dudes you have to assassinate have like
A look.
themed goons.
Yeah, like they're a Batman rogue, only you're gonna murder the shit out of them. So they're a Batman rogue, and you're Jason Todd. POV.
I just think it's neat. I'm really digging on what they've got going on here. I've got my eyes on it.
It looks cool. The gameplay looks cool. I might end up playing this.
Yeah, I might too. We're winding down here. We could have ended with a bang, but God, we don't care about retention. Next on the list is Oddworld Soulstorm. You had something to say in response to this trailer?
I don't give a fuck about Oddworld.
I have to admit, it was the least likely trailer to evoke a response from you.
It is the other one that had man interrupt thing I'm watching to talk at me. And I feel like Spider-Man, my reaction to the Spider-Man one was worse because I watched it second because I missed some of these and I had to go back. Sir.
To be fair, the guy interrupting was Lorne Lanning, the man who invented it.
At least he's Oddworld guy.
Yeah. You want to hear from Oddworld guy. You don't want to hear from whoever the fuck that was.
I'm happy to hear from Oddworld guy. But I don't give too much of a shit about Oddworld.
I'm not a huge fan.
I am amused as shit that someone's trying to be super hardcore and serious about fucking Oddworld, the game that I chiefly remember being about farts.
Well, given the age you were when you likely played it.
No, like, early Oddworld games had some very fart-central mechanics.
There were a couple of fart-central mechanics, yeah. I'm not sitting over here trying to, Oddworld was hard.
You're never gonna... It's not... I'm sorry, but no.
I think for people who give a shit about Oddworld, much like for people who give a shit about Final Fantasy and don't go, what is this fucking goddamn Witcher-ass garbage, they might be really excited about this.
Yeah, to be fair, to make it clear, I wasn't bagging on the Final Fantasy thing earlier. That was not a criticism. It just looks like a lot of shit.
I don't know that it's necessarily a criticism. Oddworld is, between the two of us, a fart game and the thing that people on TikTok do for their dogs.
I know Oddworld as, chiefly at this point in my life, there was a character in the Clone Wars TV series who looked like he was from Oddworld. He looked like a specific character from Oddworld, and he was like a bounty hunter. And that's all I remember about Oddworld. And the farts, of course. I feel like we're ending with a bang. What's the last one we have here?
Is it I don't know. Maybe.
For the internet?
For our audience?
Shit, you got me there.
We peaked at greetings and salutations, listener, for our audience.
I mean, you're the one who sees the numbers. That's fair.
No, I'm kidding. You guys are all lovely. Five Nights at Freddy's security breach. This is not your traditional Five Nights at Freddy's. You are in a stationary location looking left and right and have to hit buttons in a certain order based on sound Oh my god, Five Nights at Freddy's is what people do to their dogs on TikTok.
Yep.
I'm the dog!
Yep. This is Alien Isolation, only it's mechanical animals.
It's a good album.
That's why I use that phrase.
I'm reeling from the realization here. Yeah, it looks neat. I like the space David Bowie aesthetic that they went with for the robots.
It's an interesting aesthetic, and I like that it's Alien Isolation. That's a really good implementation of this concept.
I've seen indie games online that use a similar concept with the Five Nights at Freddy's property. Yeah, if this is at least as good as what some guy can cobble together for free on the internet.
It certainly interests me more than man sit at chair, look at screen, get jump scared.
Out now. Food.
I want to get our pets one of those. I want the little button thingy. I want that. They'd learn to use it. I'm convinced.
Trixie would.
Catnip, drugs.
Dio might.
Drugs.
Dio might learn the food button and just lay on it.
I don't think we're gonna get any better than that.
No, we're not. Close us out.
Everything's better when nerds talk about it.